Good morning and thank you for joining me. As always, I'm your foul player and I like to thank you for coming into the foul playland with me. I wanted to do a short video regarding an article which has come out on the LA Times, written by Lance Pugmire. Um, Within the article, he was basically trying to reinforce his recent point of really trying to make the fight between Bud Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. Post fight of the Bud Crawford and Amir Khan fight, um, he indicated that he's trying to make the fight, and he kind of like called Al Heyman and put him to task, stating that Al Heyman's like the one that's blocking this fight, and you know he's just trying to push the issue as if he's trying to make the fight, which I believe he is trying to make the fight, but that goes without saying. Like, and that's not the intention of this video that I want to make here now. The video that I want to make now, or the subject matter, is regarding people boycotting Bob Arum. Bob Arum, I mean, for the most part, he's reviled like in boxing to a degree, but I mean, within the LDBC, I know a lot of people mistrust him. But I think a lot of times, like, I'm not sure if it's due to his older age, or I'm not sure. Maybe people have pivoted off of Bob Arum in recent times because Eddie Hearn's like an easier target. But we got to get Bob Arum the fuck out of here too. And this article, he kind of like went over the top, like as far as race baiting, to make his point. You'll have to pardon me. I'm actually outside as I'm making this video um, here in New York City, so I mean, like, it can get a little loud. But he's actually resorted to using race baiting, which I guess I may be wrong, but is a sort of a new tactic for him, or a new low for Bob Arum in Top Rank. But in the article, he and I'm just taking a small quote. He's and I quote Heyman. He says Heyman's going to say, Spence, listen to me. Don't listen to the white guys, because if you listen to the white guys, they're gonna steer you down the wrong road, brother. And we're part of a brotherhood. The part that gets me, and I'll repeat it, is don't listen to the white guys, because if you listen to the white guys, they're gonna steer you down the wrong road, brother. And we're part of a brotherhood. And I think the part where he says they're gonna steer you down the wrong road, brother. And then I think he caught himself, and then he says, and we're part of a brotherhood. I think he said the whole brotherhood part of it, like to try to make it not seem like it's like a racial thing, like. Let me go inside, man, because it's mad noisy. But I think he added the brotherhood part when he said, listen to me, brother. Because he knows, like, black guys, they usually refer to other black dudes as a brother. So I think he tried to take emphasis off that by saying, oh, we're part of a brotherhood. And I could say that because he mentions the fact that don't listen to the white guys, like right before that. So this is coming from this is a clear indication that it's coming from a racial place. In the event that they try to change it up on you and say, oh, we're part of what he meant to say was we're part of a PBC brotherhood, or just try to change the narrative behind like this statement. But I think that Bob Arum felt comfortable in saying that because in the society we have today, people are easily baited into this. In fact, I mean, at my job, like after this fight yesterday, when I came into work, I was actually talking to somebody about the fight, and I mean, he's not as savvy as boxing fan as me, as far as being in tune with the happenings, like as you know, or the comings and goings that are happening like minute to minute. Not saying that I am either, but you know, I'm more in tune like with what's going on, like on a day-to-day basis. But he and this is not like a white guy. This is like a Latin cat. But even he said, like, you know, because we were talking about how that Errol Spence Bud Crawford match has to be made, and even he was like, oh, you know, but Al Heyman's the one that's stopping it, and that's because partially because Arum showed his ass and mentioned Al Heyman by name post fight, but a lot of dudes find it easier sometimes, like to throw blame in a black dude's direction. To be frank, I mean, like, you know, or like a lot of like, or I'll rephrase that. I'll say like a lot of dudes, like, they get baited into things sometimes, like willingly or unwillingly, like when they're charged up like with a race thing, you know, and in that statement, you know, he's saying like, don't listen to the white guy. So like, if a white guy, like, you know, hears that statement, you know, they'll jump off the roof and run with that shit. Like, you know, oh, well, yeah, you know, they're all working together in PBC, and that's like a mostly black thing. And PBC is like, you know, really multicultural, like as far as like their operation at this current venue. They have David Benavidez, and they have Abner Mares doing the broadcast on TV. They have a litany of black fighters they represent, like Mayweather and Sean Porter, Errol Spence. They have damn, I forgot his name. The dude from Tennessee. Whatever have you. But you can look it up. As far as like their how they have fighters from all ethnicities and races that are fighting under the PBC banners. Where you don't have that is Top Rank. I mean, Top Rank is and Top Rank has a good stable of fighters too, man. Like, you know, but they've like right now they're pushing Loma a lot more than they are Bud Crawford, and that's recent history. You know, really recent history. But also too, this whole role of Bob Arum, like acting like he's at the forefront of trying to make like good matches happen, when just a couple months ago the Tyson Fury and Wilder fight was a couple of days from being announced. I mean, it was a 50-50 down the middle. Deontay Wilder was really gung-ho about running that fight back. He thought he left business unsaid, and right in the midst of that happening, and literally like days from an announcement being made with the details of that fight, you get Bob Arum. He puts himself in the middle of it. Tyson Fury then signs a contract with ESPN, Top Rank, and Bob Arum, and then now we're getting Tyson Fury ducking out of that fight, fighting Tom Schwartz, in addition to now fighting another tune-up fight after Tom Schwartz. And we're not going to get the Wilder and Fury match anymore. So the whole business of Bob Arum being motivated into making good fights, I think it's bullshit. And I think he gets a pass too, because even like within the confines of the LDBC, as I mentioned before, like when there was a talk of this fight being made a couple months ago, some people were like, yeah, you know, Bob Arum's like old and he's trying to see these fights. Bob Arum's been old since I've known of Bob Arum. Like, he's always been like, even like when I was a kid, like Bob Arum looked like he was like 60 plus at least. You know, that's up there. Now you're adding 2 decades later, you know, this dude's like in his late '90s. His principal motivation has never been making the big fights. I mean, and if I need to point to any evidence, look back a few months, like I said earlier, where he completely cockblocked us from having the Fury Wilder matchup. But also too, I mean, and I know for a fact that with this statement that he just made, being that it's like charged up with race and like being that people are extremely dumb nowadays, that a lot of people are gonna run with that. They're gonna be running with and I feel that they're gonna run with it in the sense that they're gonna put more blame in the direction of Al Heyman and Errol Spence, if you will. What PBC's plans are, like, I'm not sure. Like, I'm not here like making this video to allocate blame in one direction or the other. I think they both have like fault as to why this fight's not being made in Bud Crawford and Errol Spence, but that's not the intention of this video. The intention of this video is that we should start like boycotting Bob Arum, especially if he's resorting like to this shit now. Bob Arum and Bud Crawford, to a degree, are in a position where there's no other welterweights in the top ranked stable. Fair or not, it's just what it is. To try to like push for this fight, I mean, it's kind of like just because you're in a bad position. Like, if they could make any other fight, I could see them trying to go in that direction. Like, so long as it's pay-per-view. So I think that's kind of like the standard now. If he's considered like the #1 pound-for-pound guy, that from here on out that he should be fighting for pay-per-view. And it sucks because it's gonna be a real tough sell, like trying to find Bud Crawford a dance partner that's pay-per-view worthy, if you will, outside of the PBC. And again, it's not here to. So I think he's what I want to say again. Don't want to illustrate like the position that Bud's in like too much in this video. What I do want to put like try to make the focus of this is Bob Arum's like need or our need like to push Bob Arum the fuck out of the picture. Like, I mean, he does nothing for the sport. I think most promoters like are pretty shitty and should be out of the sport. But a relic like Bob Arum, I mean, if you look up his history going back in the day, like, and how he acquired Top Rank, and people barely even talk about that stuff, like, which I find like, or the people that were spited in him acquiring like Top Rank, I always found it like suspicious, like, cause I really didn't know the history of that, and I don't want to speak on it too much either. Like, I mean, I guess you could Google it on your own, like, as far as how he came to acquire the company Top Rank, but I always found it suspicious that those people never really got at him, or how like that history kind of like is not very well known, because I didn't know about it until recently. But I guess that's it's not really a separate issue, because I mean, like, from what I know is that he acquired that company from a black group, to be vague. But I mean, like, if he's coming from that direction, I mean, like, you don't usually employ those tactics unless you feel that way. I mean, and I wouldn't employ a tactic like that just cause, like, I mean, or just to make a fight happen, unless I really felt that way. And I think that's what most people, you don't try to employ that card, like, unless you really have some substance behind it. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. I mean, I'm sorry, like, it's my feelings on this are a little convoluted. I'm actually standing outside, like, making this video, but hopefully, like, more people talk about this and more people get on that agenda, as far as like not giving Bob Arum any free passes or any say so in these things. You know, because I could see and I say that too because I could see the conversation, you know, come tomorrow morning or later on today, turning into a whole like who's to blame and like Bud and Errol Spence not fighting. You know, rather than like rather than the conversation being one of which what Bob Arum just said, you know, on Saturday or Saturday night. All right, so again, I thank you guys for joining me in the Foul Play Line. Have a wonderful day. Peace.